What's up everybody, this is Plainview, bringing you the first ever Union VGF Media video review. The NES Classic Edition. It's finally here everyone, the first Union VGF video review. It's been a long time coming, and when I launched the true front page to the website, this was one of the ideas that I had that I wanted to do. I've watched video reviews on YouTube and I enjoyed them, and I wanted to do some for the site also. With the NES Classic coming out, it was pretty fitting to do the first video review on that, since it's pretty much where my video game playing days started. I played the Atari 2600. I had it. Same thing with the Intellivision. I had some weird triangle shaped system. I forget what the name is. I looked it up one time, but I can't remember. But the NES Classic was the first console that I owned that I can call my own. I didn't have to share it with anybody. It was mine, and I could play it until my heart content. So when this came out, I wanted to do a review of it. It's taken me a little while to do it, but with everything now in place, the time was right. The nostalgia of the console is there. I was worried that playing these old games would somehow be, the mystique of them would be ruined in some way with all the advances gaming has made since these came out. But the one thing that's constant is gameplay never dies. If a game has great gameplay, there's no way that it loses it. It's going to be great if you play it now, if you play it in 10 years, they're all going to be great. Zelda's gameplay is still top notch. Mario's still top notch. Metroid can't be touched by many games. Punch-Out, that's special to me, can't be beat. Contra, really wish it was there instead of Super C, but Contra's gameplay, there aren't many games that could touch it. The interface of the system is fast. It's pretty much like the PS4, scroll left, right to pick the games, up, down to change settings. They give you a couple of different, 3 different settings for viewing the games. One is scan lines, which nobody uses, there's no reason to use it. Then there's Pixel Perfect, which is exactly what you would play on a 4x3 TV, well, old CRT TV. And then there's also 4x3, which stretches the image a little bit and fills up the screen a little bit more, and that's really the only way that you should play it. Fills up the screen a little bit better. Speed of the system is fast. Click on a game, boots up. Want to change the game, hit reset, and scroll to the next game and jump in it. The one biggest gripe that I'm sure you've heard by now are the cable lengths. They're stupid. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was a stupid decision. I can't understand how somebody could make the decision of making the cable lengths for the controller 2.5 feet. You would have to stand directly in front of the TV if you wanted to use it without getting any extensions. But this is Nintendo, and they're known for making stupid decisions. Luckily for me, I have a HDMI and USB in the front of my receiver, and where I normally play the games, the console stretches right there. Still have to play with the console on my lap, but it reaches there, and I don't have to worry about standing in an awkward position to play the games. The controller itself, it actually feels cheaper than what the original one felt like. It feels a little bit lighter. I mean, it could be just the 30 years or so since I've held one, but it felt cheaper. The D-pad felt looser, and it definitely was. It wasn't as responsive as I remember because there were turns in Pac-Man that I didn't make when I know I pressed correctly on the controller. And the same thing with in Zelda, Legend of Zelda, when you're trying to avoid an enemy, especially those red knights, and you have to turn corners pretty quickly, and the controller just wouldn't respond the way it should. All the games, they play exactly how they did back in the 80s. Still, everyone still has a little quirks. You can still see random pixels at the side of the screens when you run too fast. Ghosts and Goblins still has the really awful frame rate. Every little glitch that was in those games is still there. You could still do the unlimited, 100 free lives in Super Mario Brothers. Did that a few times. You could still get to the minus worlds. That's still in there. There were a couple games that I actually never played on the NES, and it was pretty cool to play them now, especially games like Star Tropics, Final Fantasy. Never played those. And surprisingly, you see it on the screen now, Super Mario Bros. 3. I played it maybe once or twice. I never owned it. Can't remember why I never got it. It's odd that I never played it. And here you already see Super C. I can't believe that they didn't pick the regular Contra, because that's where the nostalgia comes in. That's the game that people know. That's the game that people first put in the Konami code. And while it's cool that Super C is on here, I would rather have seen Contra. And that brings me to NES Classic 2 and what I would like to see in it. Obviously the first is Contra. That has to be on there. And then you have games like Kung Fu, Ninja Kid, Kari Warriors, Blades of Steel, Baseball Stars, Ring King, RC Pro-Am. God, I played RC Pro-Am so many times. Racing games are fun now, but the fun you had in the 80s when playing RC Pro-Am and just shooting the rockets at your friends, there's no comparison to that. Pro Wrestling. Pro Wrestling is another one that needs to be on there. There were many, many nights that me and my friends would play that game for hours. It was just the first wrestling game that most of us played, and unless you played the Intellivision, I think there was one on there. 007-373-5963. There's the code that's going in. I put that code in so many times when I was younger. I beat Mike Tyson first without knowing that code, and once I found out what that code was, I can't even remember where I found out. I think a friend told me. I didn't read it anywhere. A friend showed me it, and I remembered it ever since. I'll probably remember it longer than I'll remember my social security number. I can't even imagine how many times I used that code. Even after I beat him, I would still use it just to see how fast I could beat him, how many stars I can get, and everything else. Is the NES Classic worth the $60, well, $150 that you'll have to spend if you want it now on eBay? No, it's not worth $150. Just wait until the supply meets up with the demand and spend $60 on it. If you're lucky enough to find one for $60, jump all over it. You'll get months of fun and replay value. I would say there are very few games that you'll spend $60 on right now that'll give you the same amount of fun, longevity, and definitely you won't get any nostalgia from it. So if you find one for $60, jump all over it. If you can somehow get one for under $100, jump all over it. And that concludes the first ever Union VGF Media video review. I hope everybody enjoyed listening, and I'll see all of you on the forums. Later.